Peace to the world. We are in the new Black Wall Street. Yes, I said new Black Wall Street inside of Star Status, which is a store that represents athletics and inner me.
Welcome to Star Status Store. It is the home of inner me and athletics. Inner me is all about crystals, crystal jewelry. We customize the jewelry in the store if you want us to. We have bracelets, earrings, necklaces, and then with athletics, we have the world's first conscious sportswear brand.
Created sports logos and put it on sports apparel. So you can see right here we have Mansa Musa on the basketball shorts. We also have the ancient Egyptian Kemetic Herus on football jersey, tackle twill, captain's tag, heavyweight mesh, all quality material, authentic sports apparel. And y'all come see us at the new Black Wall Street Star Status store on Choctaw Street. Peace.
Peace, family, peace to you and yours. All right. Welcome to another episode of Third Eye Thursdays. You are now rocking with the best. Yes, this is your host for the evening, Brother Red Pill. Peace. What's good? Shalom, shalom. All right, shalom. Let's go ahead and do the roll call. Before we even begin the roll call, how's the audio sounding? We're not mic'd up today. I'm just going straight through the computer. So let me know how it sounds. Let me know what's the audio like and whatnot before we move forward. I appreciate that. All right. Peace to Texas. Shout out to Texas in the building. Love and light. Audio is good? Okay. All right. We in the building. Let's do roll call. Where y'all from? You know what I'm talking about? Peace to Texas. All right. Another Texas in the building. Peace to Denver, Mississippi. All right. Dominica in the building. Tallahassee in the building. PG, Maryland in the building. You feel me? Seattle, Houston, I see you. Brooklyn, Brooknall, all right. Rome, Georgia, that's what's up. PG, we got, PG is lit. Let me find out. Colorado, Kokomo, Indiana, is that what it is? Sacramento. Virginia. All right, shout out to Virginia. Shout out to NC, Marietta. All right. Peace to all of my Carolina family. I don't know if y'all are aware of it, but we are looking at the Carolinas as the next stop for the Facts Initiative tour. We are looking to come to the Carolinas for the next stop in the Facts Initiative tour. All right. If you reside in the Carolinas, and you do anything dealing with promotions, marketing, you have venues, if you active, right? If you know, I don't gotta speak Swahili. If you active, hit me on an email. If you have any type of, if you are interested in playing a part when it comes to us getting out there and you know, getting a flyer and letting people know, that's one thing. This is the preliminaries to it. We're looking for people from the Carolinas, North and South, who want to either volunteer or work with us on the ground, boots on the ground, because I don't live in the Carolinas. So when it comes to the promotions, I want to go to a melanated venue that's owned by some of us. We got to reach out to y'all. This is when I don't ask the people for much. This is when I'm asking the people to play a part. If you want to improve the conditions of your city, if you want to uplift the fallen humanity that you are seeing, you know, when you walk outside of your door, if you want to be a part of this movement, because this movement, I promise you, like, this shit is not going to be about us carrying all of the weight and nobody doing nothing but sitting on the sidelines and taking up all of the credit. Like, we're not finna be doing that. You know what I mean? I promise you. So I'm putting it out there. I'm looking for volunteers. I'm looking for venues. and I'm looking for people. I'm talking about the whole Carolinas, North and South. I don't give a fuck where it is because we finna cover the whole Carolinas. You feel me? North and South. So that's the email right here, right? The Mark125th@gmail. Reach out. Reach out. I really hope that's not asking too much. If I get 1 or 2 emails, then I'm gonna just say fuck it, and I'm gonna just keep it moving, and we're gonna go to another state. You feel me? Because at the end of the day, it's gonna take more than just us to make things happen. Shout out to my good brother Sir Bay. And when we did the Richmond last week, and when we did PG County, it was people that lived in those cities that played a big part. You feel me? And making that shit very successful. And we made it happen. You feel me? We made it happen in a very short amount of time. So at the end of the day, let's make some things happen. I'm looking for the players, the ones that want to be on the field playing the game, because to be honest with you, this is not for everybody. You know what I'm saying? This definitely is not for everybody. This calling is not for everybody. Some people just really mean to be on the sidelines and watch it. This shit is Netflix for some people. But for some people, this is in their blood. This is in their veins and whatnot. Shout out to Norfolk, Indiana, H-Town, NC once again, Charlotte, once NC again, Charlotte, all right? Bridgeport, Connecticut. You know what I'm saying? If you all right, well, hit me on the email. Give me your email. It's right there, bro. Can you see my face? Well, right next to my face is the email. You see gmail.com? That's the email, fam. The Mark125th@gmail. You feel me? Tuscarora checking in. Shout out to Tuscarora. Queen City in the house. Yeah, I'm excited. We looking for a place that could fit about 300 to 400 because every day, every time I go live, there's so many people from the Queen cities, from the Carolinas in the building. I'm like, shit, we need to. This gonna be a movie. You know what I'm talking about? This is gonna be a movie. So let's make it happen. If you really want to make it happen, then make it happen. Stop capping and make it happen. And I'm going to just leave it at that. You feel me? I know y'all can hear the frustrations in my voice because I promise you, sometimes this shit gets tiring. You know what I mean? Y'all have no idea what it takes to make certain things happen. You know what I'm talking about? We make this shit look easy. But, it don't have to be. It could be more easier than it is. You know what I mean? It could be more easier than it is. So let's make it happen. All right. Flatbush by way of Georgia. What's popping with you, bro? You know what I'm saying? You're moving to Stone Mountain in a few months. Do y'all know that on 9/11, right? On 9/11, we are going to be gathering at Stone Mountain once again. The same thing that we did on, I think it was July the 11th, when we went and we had hundreds of people and we climbed Stone Mountain. We're going to be doing that again on 9/11. It's going to be KTL. It's going to be Father Rich, Black Magic 363. It's going to be King Simon. It's going to be a lot of us. It's going to be a whole bunch. Ra Aku is coming. It was July the 3rd. There you go. So, but then we went up there on 7/11 and we did the nighttime ritual, I believe. We did it on 7/11 at night and whatnot. I remember that. So, yes, thank you. Thank you, sis. We're coming back on 9/11. So if you live in the Carolinas, if you live in Florida, because people was coming from Florida, the Carolinas, other cities in Georgia like Macon, Augusta, and other places, pull up. Pull up. This shit is gonna be once again, it's gonna be a movie, and it's for the people. Because we've been going up on that mountain by ourselves and whatnot, and doing what needs to be done. outside of doing it with the people. We've been doing it, individually and whatnot, 3 deep, 4 deep, 5 deep, you know what I mean? But now, because people have been asking us so many, when y'all gonna do that again? I can't wait to do that again. That was, I'm still charged up off of that. All right, well, on 9/11, right, which is a day 21 years ago that these people casted a very strong spell on the hearts and the minds of a global community, right? So we're gonna tap in, okay? We're gonna shake that matrix and whatnot. We're gonna break a few of those spells and whatnot, and we're gonna be presently present on top of that crystal mountain on that day to send out some energy to the motherfucking universe, and declare some things that I'm not gonna talk about right now. You gotta be there to see it. So we'll be there, and I can't wait to see whoever pulls up, and we could chop it up. You need some lectures in Brooklyn. Well, look no further, my friends. You know what I'm saying? Look no further. The brother A.A. Rashid will be in Brooklyn Saturday. Well, he'll be in Manhattan Saturday and Sunday with his special guest Blue Pillar, right? And I will also be there as I'll be there filming. We'll be live streaming. So you don't even have to be you don't got to be in New York to be a part of that or to be in the building. It's going to be a master class, right? You can find the tickets at KTLUniversity.com. All right, KTLUniversity.com. You'll be able to get those tickets. So for all of my New York City family, we have not forgot about you. We're going to be doing more things in NYC. That's home base and whatnot. We'll never forget the city that made us. And but we got work to do on the road as well. I'm talking about Pope Pablo will be with A.A. Rashid in New York City this weekend, and they're gonna be turning up high level metaphysics, high level Kabbalah, high level shit. You know what I mean? So you'll see everything that you need to know. I'm not answering no questions. KTL University, if you want to get the tickets, is sitting there, waiting for you. And you'll see everything at the top of the page and whatnot. The brothers in Indiana need an awakening. Right. Dope. Yeah, man. Brothers in Indiana need an awakening. Yeah, man. Shout out to the brothers in Indiana. LA. Yeah, shout out to the Los Angeles family. You know what I'm talking about? Later today at 11, I don't know who still fucks with Clubhouse, but later tonight at the hours Eastern time of 11:30, right? We're gonna be appearing on Clubhouse. Let me pull up the page for you. Give me 1 minute, y'all. This is going to be the show. The Rabbit Hole at 11 p.m. Eastern, right? We was on there months ago with the good brother Hocus 45. And we're going to be right back tonight doing a recap about the Facts Initiative, because, shout out to Sir Bay. Brother got a book. Check him out. It's on Amazon. Your Gift, Your Passion, Your Purpose. That's my good brother, Sir Bay. Shout out to the sister. She gave me this book, A Brief History of Mind Control, right? This is the author, Eric Penn. This is her father. at one of the events. I believe when we were in Maryland, Sister blessed us, me and Blue Pill, with this book right there, A Brief History of Mind Control. Real good read. Whew. So yeah, we doing a lot of reading and shit these days. I'm trying to get, not trying to, but I'm sharpening up the sword. So, it's very important that you keep your nose in those books. It's very important to keep deep diving into those books. You know what I mean? Because information is endless, information is priceless, knowledge is power, and you can't know everything. You know what I'm talking about? I don't think there's nobody that knows everything. So we on a mission to continue to learn, and I'll never stop learning. Like I will never stop learning. I'm never gonna be content with anything in the field of learning. I'm never gonna be content. I'm always gonna be on edge. I'm always gonna feel like, I'm catching up and I need more. You know what I mean? So, I'm in that mode right now, doing more research and just, getting my thing together, sharpening up my sword and still pivoting away from things that don't serve me anymore. You feel me? Still gotta pivot. We still gotta get out of this comfort zone and challenge ourselves and do things that haven't been done before. So, that's the shit that keeps me excited because to be honest with you, this YouTube and this all of this other shit it's really it's not that exciting to me, unfortunately. I mean, I don't know how much more we could do to make it what it is. But one thing that keeps me excited, one thing that I love doing, and I haven't kind of that hasn't left me, is pulling up live, going places, standing on, meeting people, and being in these venues where real people are, where real people are. This internet, like I've been so inundated with the internet, with social media. I've been I'm so much in the matrix, especially since 2021 and in 2022. Like in 2021, people were still going outside, but I was, like me, I could speak for myself. Like I was really inside. I was more inside than I've ever been in all of the 40 plus years of my life. Like I can't really count to no year other than when I was a baby. I think even as a baby, I was outside more. But in 2021 and even in 2022, like me moving to Atlanta and shit like that, I don't, I be in the house, bro. You know what I mean? I mean, we got a social club that we run. We got a little lounge that we just got it recently. But I don't even like going out to that shit, to be honest with you. Like I'll be in the house, you know what I mean? But I'll be tapped in, because of my profession and whatnot. I gotta be on the internet a lot. You know what I mean? Like I really have to be in fucking cyberspace, silver surfing, and that shit could wear down on you. So I really want to take, I'm planning a digital detox. But before even doing that, what makes up for being on my phone and in front of these computers is when I have to go to a venue and meet people in real fucking life. You know what I mean? I like that. I like that. I appreciate that. Because, and I'm not saying this to be capping and whatnot, but there's some great people in our network. You feel me? There's some beautiful people in our network. There's some stories that, there's some families that exist out there that, I benefit from when I meet you. You know what I mean? Like when I physically meet these people, I benefit. I walk away a better person. I walk away, with my soul and my spirit. My heart gets lighter and whatnot because imagine meeting a mother who introduces you to her son. And her son is like, yo, my mother put me on to you, right? And you helped save my life. Like, I'm not that far away from the streets. So sometimes I could look in a person's eyes and whatnot. I look in their face and I could look in their eyes and body language, it speaks more than verbal, right? I could look at a nigga body language and tell that they really telling me the truth. You know what I mean? Like I could look at somebody's face when they be like, yo, I was about to kill myself. Or I was really out there in these streets. I could look at a nigga and be like, yeah, you was. I could feel it. You know what I'm talking about? Like and they like, yo, your family helped save my life. Or the people in your network helped save my life. Or, Dr. Sabi helped save my life. Like all of these saved my lives. You know, it's a good quote unquote it's good for appreciation purposes, because you never know what somebody is going through. So when they hear shit like that, you might be walking them off of a ledge. You know what I'm saying? You might be helping to, verify certain things that they didn't have verified. You know, you might be uplifting somebody who may have been down for the day. You know what I mean? Because shit be happening. So to know, right? To know that I play a purpose in somebody's rites of passage. Shout out to Jefferson in the building. Shout out to Athletics. What up, God? To know that we play an active role in somebody's rites of passage, because what the rites of passage that I'm referring to, of course, is not necessarily the rites of passage that we all are familiar with, like the streets rites of. No, I'm talking about consciousness rites of passage. Making it through the fire and whatnot, making it past the fear and the doubt and the shame, because you could get shamed for wanting to eat healthy. You could get shamed for not wanting to be a Christian. You could get shamed for wearing, your art. This right here is an heirloom, right? This is the feathered serpent, Quetzalcoatl. This is an heirloom passed down from one of my deceased relatives and whatnot. So I wear this proudly, you know what I mean? Like this ain't just no regular jewelry piece. This shit is passed down through my family. This is even with my uncle, my great uncle, when he was wearing jewelry like this, I didn't even go through my rites of passage. I used to look at him like you know what I mean? Like, why are you wearing all that jewelry? Men don't wear jewelry. I used to look at him like something was strange. And what up, Sandra? It's my people's right there. But I understand what it is now because I went through that rites of passage, and now I really could give a fuck about what anybody has to say. I'm not worried about what nobody has to say when they see me wearing jewelry or whatever. I don't have nothing to prove to anybody. But I'm able to measure my growth and development just by shit like that. So the rites of passage and consciousness is making it through the grinder, making it through the fire, making it through the pressure, making it through all of these eyes on you, and people are fake judging you and talking about you behind your back. Some people even lost family members, loved ones. You know what I mean? Relationships had ended it because of choices that you made to better yourself, right? To eat healthier, to eat cleaner, to live better, to get up off of your back and whatnot. Motherfuckers that just walk out on you. You know what I mean? Like I lost a relationship many, many, many moons ago as a result of that. We grew apart. We grew apart. I'm gonna check that show out with Dr. Be Serious. That's my guy right there, man. Try to tell you niggas, you know what I'm talking about? I try to tell you niggas. I'm glad y'all know now. You know what I mean? I was out here trying to tell you. So for everybody who's made that step in that direction and whatnot, you was persecuted, and you niggas laughed at you and whatnot. Motherfuckers was sleeping on you, and now they the same ones hitting you up talking about, yo, you got exemption papers. You know what I mean? yo, you know, can you you know what I mean? Can you get me one of those crowns by the brother 19? Yo, you ever heard of Goldwater? You know what I'm saying? Like all of these things that people now come around with, you know, it's like poetic justice. You know what I mean? Like I said before, I've said it on many occasions. On this walk that we're on, the people that you walked away from, they're gonna come back. They're gonna come around, right? They're going to wake up eventually. They're gonna one day figure it out. Versus you going back to where you came from. So you got to ask yourself, what's the scenario ultimately going to be like in the next 10 years? Are you going to go back to being a knuckle dragger and prove them niggas right? Or are you going to stay in your path, right? Or are you going to continue to improve yourself? Or are you going to continue to level up? Or are you going to launch that business? Or are you going to shed the skin, right? That former skin that you had on you, and grow from that, like how a caterpillar grows into a butterfly, right? Are you going to continue to be on your path and let them niggas catch up to you, right? Or are you going to go backwards? You're going to moonwalk and backslide, and then they're going to definitely catch up to you. But when you go back with your tails, with your tail tucked and your head down and whatnot, they're not going to treat you the same that they were treating you before you decided to take the red pill. You're going to be persecuted. They're going to line you up. You damn right they're going to run into you. They're not going to treat you with respect, because they're not even going to respect the fact that you couldn't stay on your motherfucking dean. And unfortunately, in 2016, 17, 18, 19, I seen a lot of people lose faith in what was known as consciousness or this community, and then they backslid, and then they went back to the hood, or they went back to whence they came from, right? Or they thought that the grass was greener on the other side. They decided they want to start eating pork again. They want to start smoking drugs again. They want to start gang banging again. You know what I mean? They want to start fornications. They want to start all of the weird shit that they were doing before they took the red pill and whatnot, right? I haven't seen that work out for damn near nobody that made that decision. And I'm really not, all up in people's business. However, it's just something, it's an appearance, right? I don't got to be in your business. I could physically look at you. There's something called an aura, right? It's a light that we have around us. There's an auric field that we all have. So, like, look at your Facebook 10-year challenge, or they had the 10-year challenge and whatnot. You can physically, you don't have to use the aura camera. You don't have to take the aura photography. With the naked eye, right? If your eye, if you have sight and whatnot, especially if you got third eye vision, you could look at somebody's pictures and see, like, you had a dim light around you. You were not shining like that. You didn't have the Bruce Leroy glow, right? When you were in when your lights were dimmer, right? Because you were not vibrating on a certain frequency, so you were not electrified like that. You were not in touch with this quote unquote with this field of energy. It appears, how people talk about they photogenic and whatnot. Remember, you didn't have filters the way that you have them now in 2022 and 2012. People's filters, you didn't have the unless you was nice with Photoshop. You can see it. So people who tap in and they get that glow, I have yet to see a motherfucker say, all right, I'm going back to the hood. I'm going back to the savages. I'm going back to the bando, right? And then they glow up even more. Maybe I've missed the nigga who defied the odds, but I haven't met that person yet. I say all of that to say, stay the path, right? I try my best when I have these conversations, right? Regardless if I'm doing a fucking rant or if I'm talking to you calmly or if I'm breaking it down even with a presentation, like when I did the thing about narcissism and other things, you know, I try my best to paint a picture, right? I try my best to paint a picture about, you know, some of the fallacies that many of us are walking with in these communities, right? When we sign up for consciousness, but we sign up to this shit to be a popularity contest, and it's not a focus on your growth and development or self-mastery. I try my best to point out the fatal flaw in that. I try my best to show people how, even though that may be how you were introduced to this consciousness through watching black men argue, right? By watching people pick sides and whatnot. They was out there drilling in 125th Street. It was drill culture, right? We point fingers at the drill rappers, but what's the difference between the Hebrew Israelites versus the niggas from Kemet? Is that not drill? Do you not have a op? Are they not online taunting each other and whatnot? I just watched a 3-hour documentary on No Limit, G Herbo and them, right? On YouTube. Shit was crazy, bro. These little niggas. These little, bro. Shit. I mean, goddamn it, Chicago. What the fuck? Man, I thought I knew it. I thought I knew the story. You know what I'm talking about? I thought I knew the whole story. I thought I knew, and I didn't know. And I didn't know. These little niggas out here is on one. That this shit right here. That water they got going on in the hood. Man, let me tell you. So when I'm watching it though, I'm like, shit. I'm studying the beefs. Who killed who? Who killed who in retaliation? Who shot? They shot niggas getting shot in the face 18 times. Like brutal shit. Like these little niggas is the level of brutality is unmatched. But nobody can't tell me that when them brothers was online going at it, beefing, that there was a line that almost got crossed where blood was about to be shed. Because once blood gets shed, right? Once somebody's head get bust, you can't turn back. And if you study, because I'm a Scorpio, so you know what we about. Sex, money, murder. You know what I mean? Like, I'm into shit like that. I like those underworld, the underbelly of society type exposés. I was watching the McAfee story on Netflix. The billionaire, remember dude who died recently? And he was the one who created the virus protection in the computers and what? That was a crazy wild boy, a crazy wild cokehead white boy. The shit was crazy. Anyway, shit like that I like. So when our community was in shambles and when they were being supported the same way that, because remember, drill culture was supported by the internet, by social media, most likely suburban white kids or Poindexters who really never got busy like that. And they were living vicariously through these quote unquote very impressionable teenagers, because we talking about 11 and 12-year-olds when they first started, 13 and 14-year-olds when they first started. These are babies, but they was out here killing shit. You know what I mean? And, when I was coming up, 13 and 14-year-olds was killing shit back then. So it's not nothing different. Going back to what I said, rites of passage. Once the hormones kick in, if we don't have an outlet to express how we're going to transform from pubescent into adulthood, we're going to, you know what I mean? We'll be led astray easily. And that's what you see taking place in Chicago in the earlier years. And then now that cycle continues to whereas the children that are killing and drilling is starting at 13 and 14 and 15, right? Because like I explained before, all it took was a few years of marketing and promotion by the record labels. And what has drill music does, drill music have now turned into a mind state. It's a mind state. It's a state of mind, right? So I was doing some research the other day, and homicides all around are up, right? Homicides are up. But when you do the research on what kind of homicides, it's going to blow you away. So, of course, gun violence is one of the leading causes of death and homicide for melanated men and women between the ages of 18 and 65, I believe, right? But then when I zeroed it down, I zeroed down the research, and I wanted to study Atlanta, right? So Atlanta, the homicides in Atlanta skyrocketed in 2020 immediately after George Floyd situation, right? Once again, when they came through, right? That's what I'm saying. Books like this, A Brief History of Mind Control, right? Unnatural interference. It will help edify, you know what I mean? Your research mind. Anyway, what happened, or what's happening, is that, you know, they're utilizing the power of suggestion, right? And the power of suggestion has more, quote unquote, you know, the power of suggestion is more powerful than many of us give it credit, right? They say that when they went to war in Iraq and they had what was known as shock and awe, right? When they had all of the bombs going off the first night in 2003, the first day of spring, they went into the Middle East, and one of the operatives was to capture the hearts and the minds of the people. So fast forward to where we're at right now, why I keep saying that it's really about suggestion. It's auto-suggestion at this point. Trap music, when the Jeezy era popped off, and then T.I. with the Trap Museum and all, that was also about suggestion, right? They were suggesting to poor Black men and women, right? Poverty-minded ghetto youth, that the way to get, the author on this book is Eric Penn, right? I don't know if it's on Amazon, but you could go and make the search, right? I don't know if it's on Amazon, but you can make the search. Eric Penn, A Brief History of Mind Control, right? So the frequencies in the music, the subliminal messages, right? Disastrous programming. So we all saw it, right? I'm sure that because some of you niggas was in Pampers when Jeezy and them came out. But for those of us that was outside and we was able to be in the midst of this shit, we saw how a movement came, a suggestive movement that suggested that you niggas turned into the snowman, right? They suggested to you that you would fare better selling coke instead of crack, because this is when everybody started becoming coke dealers. And they wanted to move bricks and everything. Before that, they were selling crack rocks. They was doing hand-to-hand deals. Now they wanted to be, you know, what's the nigga name on Power? They want to be Avon Barksdale. They want to be, my dude on Power. You know what I mean? Trap or die. Okay? Trap or die. So they went from hand to hand, fucking up the hood and whatnot. You know what I mean? Selling drugs to niggas' mamas, right? To becoming Big Meech. Everybody wanted to be Meech. That's really what it was about. It was about, you wasn't jacking T.I. Yeah, well, remember, Jeezy had the soundtrack to a real movement, right? So T.I., in my book, that nigga's cap. He wasn't no drug dealer. Tiny put him on. He talking about I created trap music. Where was you? You was a barber, my nigga. Trapping where? At Tiny's house? You was trapping on the Escape tour, nigga? Because she said that she put you on. So you wasn't doing that much. You're a rapper, right? You was a good rapper. Jeezy, on the other hand, he was attached to BMF. He might not have been the nigga selling the birds, but he made the soundtrack. I was there. I witnessed it. I was in the midst of it. Them niggas had a whole soundtrack to the movement, and one of the top artists to provide that music was Jeezy. Okay? That's a super fact. And nobody was listening to Blue Da Vinci and shit like that. You know what I'm talking about? Nobody was listening to Blue Da Vinci. It was Jeezy, you know. So the suggestion, right, that you were listening, when you was listening to all of that bird talk, you was like, shit, I might be able to get away with this thing. Fast forward, right? Fast forward, the federal facilities are filled up to the max, right? With that generation, they're coming home now, right? They're coming home and doing interviews with Vlad, Adam 22. That generation is coming home right now from that era when they was taken out. They, you know, shit. When some niggas got a whole bunch of people got put in boxes, and the other side got put in graves, right? They got put in graves. You know what I'm talking about? We was having a conversation about how Atlanta changed after Katrina when the New Orleans niggas came and turned up the murder rate in Atlanta, and it's never went down since then. It's only climbed since Katrina. You remember that? You remember that? Because during the BMF era, it wasn't about murder, kill, 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 and all of that. Kill, kill, kill. Please enlighten me. If trap music wasn't about selling drugs, what was his definition, sir? I'm interested in that. But after Katrina niggas came, after the New Orleans niggas came, yeah, they came to Houston, they came to Texas and turned the body count up, and they came into Atlanta and started turning the body count up. That's a fact. And then Lil Wayne, he goes to Miami, right? He was fucking with Trina. That was his little boo in the beginning when he remember they got displaced and him and Baby went to Miami. I was out there in Miami. I remember it clearly. And then he took off. Because he was already honing his skills in New Orleans with the Jay-Z flow. And then they got into Miami, and then he started talking that, you know, he started going crazy with it. But then he really started talking that money talk. And then he got Drake and Trina in like 2009 and 10, and the rest is history. But that 2005 to 10 run when he was going bonkers, my nigga, that was suggestion. He was adding on to the suggestion, the auto suggestion, that people take these lyrics and they try to live these shits. It's an egregor, right? I remember being in Buckhead to 6 a.m. before Meech killed Wolf, and they shut down Buckhead and they start having a curfew out there. I remember the old Atlanta. The old Atlanta was lit and it was safe. It wasn't the old Atlanta was party town. The money was out here. The women was more decent. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know where some of these gremlins come from. No offense. But the women's was decent. You know what I mean? The women was decent. They had some level of decency to themselves. You know what I'm talking about? But you know, this shit just went to the birds. This shit went to the birds. And the New Orleans niggas brought that murder game out here. People wasn't getting their doors kicked down and ran up and tied up and shit like that. You get your head bust in the club, you know what I mean? During the crunk era, Yeah, them little niggas, them wild niggas with the dreads and everything with the lock. They was busting heads, but they wasn't drilling in Atlanta. They wasn't trying to drill like that. They wasn't out there drilling niggas. That shit changed very quickly. Very quickly. So what has drill done as a suggestion, right? Drill culture has taken over the world through the hearts and the minds of young melanated men and women, right? To the point to it's old niggas is influenced by drill culture. It's not an age thing anymore. They let the babies turn them out, right? So now in drill culture, there is no conflict resolution. If you hate me, I hate you, right? If you hate me, I hate you. If you hate my mans and them, if you got beef with my peoples, you got beef with me too. You got beef with me too, and we're not gonna end it until we get you where you need to go, and that's the fuck up out of here. That's the mind state right now. That's been the mind state. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't, that's really kind of been the mind state, but now it's quote unquote. I would say that it's the domineering mind state in our culture. It wasn't the domineering, right? Remember what I'm saying about thought forms, right? Egregores, thought forms. There's some lesser gods, then there's the overarching thought form. That wasn't the overarching, like whole culture always existed, right? They've been berating black women in hip hop for decades now. It's up until recently where that mind state or that thought form became an overarching thought form that has now hovered above the quote unquote female gender of all ages, of all colors, of all backgrounds. So now the thoughts, right? The suggestions, the auto suggestions and the suggestions of how I'm going to pay bills, how I'm finna come up, how sacred is my body or my temple and whatnot. Can I put a price tag on it? You know what I'm talking about? Will I get a few dollars for this shit right here? You know what I mean? Now, that mind state is more prevalent than it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, although we know that it existed, right? But now, fast forward, after all of these years of chipping and chipping and chipping away, something finally broke, and now they in the building. They remember in the Matrix where they were chipping at the ceiling, the Sentinels were chipping away, chipping, and then they broke through, and then they breached the walls, and they invaded Zion. So our minds, right? Our minds, which is some of the most precious real estate on the planet, our minds, somebody climbed over the walls, and they've begun to invade the kingdom on the most precious thing that we have, and that's our children's minds. You understand? Nuck if you buck was the same frequency. It was the frequency. These were dirty niggas fighting in a club. Nuck if you buck, right? Shorties was fighting, scrapping, but they wasn't getting to the bag like that. And it wasn't about tying niggas up and shooting them in their face with choppers and whatnot. Right? The crimes were so grimy that ATL thugs were calling the cops on the New Orleans thugs to try to get them out their hood. Facts. These niggas went state against the New Orleans. Niggas start working with the police. So I'm saying all of that. I went on this long, tandem to kind of paint that picture, to just, help us to see with clearer eyes that they have mastered taking our people, right? We are underneath mind control, right? We are underneath mind control via our entertainment apparatus. It's not just the music. It's not just the music. They got us in the commercials. They coming at us through the fucking music, the elevator music. They coming at us through the movies. They coming at us through the cartoons. They coming at us through the sitcoms. They coming at us many different ways. And it's subtle, right? But it all has to do with the agenda. And the agenda is to program our people to self-destruct, right? To see themselves as less valuable, to reward backwards behavior, right? Suspect behavior, right? And to value, right, the lack of morality in our people. Where they reward people for displaying poor, quote unquote, a poor moral compass, a broken moral compass. You get rewarded for that in this modern day society. You'll get rewarded for, ignorance is not only bliss, but ignorance is a multi-billion-dollar industry that certain people have capitalized off of. Okay? But they say that they out here on demon time, and they say this and they say that, but they not that much of a demon, because they don't, the people who should be the ops are not the ops. So somebody is lying. The people who clearly, in anybody's books, I mean, Ray Charles can see this shit. The people that should be under pressure, the people that should be getting ran down on, the people who they should be spinning the block on, the people who should be getting, done dirty, don't nothing happen to them. So these niggas ain't that fucking deep. They not that demon. You know what I mean? Because there's still something in them that snaps, that says, nah, nigga, put your gun down and put your hands up or run. You know what I mean? It's something in them that won't allow them to take it there. So, what is gonna help break the spell? We have to counter the programming. We got to counter it. You understand? We got to counter it. What do you mean counter it? We have to create propaganda. We have to flood the airwaves. We have to create something so visually appealing that it's almost like an opiate, like dope, like heroin in a nigga veins, to where it's so sticky, right? What's sticky? I'm talking about retention, right? The fact that there's some websites that once you get on it, you can't get off of it. It's sticky. It's like a fly on a fly trap. Once you get on this site, you can't get off of it. Like sometimes I get on YouTube and it's so sticky, I can't get off of it. I'm watching video after video. Sometimes if something salacious is taking place, we love the salaciousness. It becomes sticky. You know what I mean? Like tea and whatnot, gossiping and rumors, sticky. You niggas is on the shade room from 9 a.m. to noon, reading every single article about what somebody else's life is fucked up so it can make you feel better. Sticky, right? So we have to create something that's that sticky. We have to focus on what is retention. How do you retain eyeballs? How do you keep our people stuck on whatever the fuck it is that you're doing? How do we make ourselves so visually appealing that if you put us in a lineup with all of the distractions, a motherfucker has no they'll just keep looking at you. They won't even look at the distractions. They got blinders on. That's how much we got to go in. That's how deep we got to take this shit in order to get the minds back of these babies, yo. We're going to have to counter this shit. How we going to counter this shit? I don't know. It's going to be all hands on deck. The people are not ready to counter it because the people are not really supportive of the individuals, even if there's a handful of us that are out there doing the thing, because the people's mind state is still on competition, dick measuring, egos, who you like, personality worship. Y'all not focusing on the work. You don't reward people out there who put in the work. That's not what the people are here for. The people are here for some other shit. They're not here for the solutions, because if the people was here for the solutions, we would have some solutions, because it's too many people for there to be no solutions. And the only thing that was really needed was the people and the numbers. And then solutions can happen overnight, but something is broken. Something is not functioning. Something is not put together the right way, because the equation is here, but we can't get the motherfucking we can't pull the where's the, you know what I mean? We see the equation, people plus purpose equals movement. We got the people and we damn sure got the purpose, but there's no movement. And if you want to, I be talking about how shit been growing. I lied, nigga. If you want to really say that this snail pace movement is a movement, it's not a fucking movement. It's nothing moving for real. The shit is moving at a snail's pace. It's moving like it was only 500 of us in this whole thing. But look at what the LBGT was doing. You know what I'm talking about? Look at what the fucking immigrants is doing. Nigga, look at what the drill niggas is doing. It wasn't a whole bunch of them at first. And they took over the world. It's about 1,000 niggas in total coming out of Chirac back in the days. And all 1,000 niggas wasn't active. I would say it was 100 of the quote unquote rappers. They were in totality, it maybe less than 100. They took over the minds of babies all around the world, my nigga. Are you serious? They did that. But they shed a lot of blood. It was a lot. Remember, if you shedding blood, you know that's that's like ceremony. That's a ritual. You know what I'm talking about? They shed them, they smoking their ops. They're really, they have millions of followers. So millions of people's minds are focusing on the war in Chirac. Millions of people, right? Millions of people. Imagine how much ritualistic power that is, right? You talking about, bro, I can't wrap my mind around certain things. How some brothers live 3 blocks away from people who they have on site murder beef with for 10 years. And then they don't even see these niggas for 10 years. And they live right down the block. What the fuck is going on? I really can't fathom that. It's hard for me, even in LA with the gang banging and whatnot. We'll be driving through and I'm like, wait a minute. We just was in Inglewood. Now we over here. 5 minutes later, we on Crenshaw. 10 minutes later, we in another hood. Then we by the jungle. I'm like, you niggas live literally a Uber ride away from each other. Like if I had if my nigga, a $15 Uber ride takes me through about 12 to 13 gang banging hoods in LA in a matter of fucking 20 minutes. It is baffling to me. I'm like, y'all got beef and y'all living on top of each other like this. It's the same thing in New York. But the Chicago shit blew me away. I looked at the map. I'm like, hold on. Y'all are really in close proximity to each other. They killing their cousins. You damn right. They killing their cousins, bro. This is family. This is a family affair. And people be like, yo, how do we fall? How did the white man come in and take us over? Because they was in Africa drilling for hundreds of years, right? It was always tribal warfare. LA is not gangbanging, it's tribal warfare. Chicago is tribal warfare. The Bronx and Brooklyn is tribal warfare. It's the tribes going at each other. They misnomered it gang banging and whatnot. No, nigga, it's the same tribal warfare that the Indians was going through, and the Europeans saw the weakness in that. So what did he do? He put one confederacy against the other. And he sat back. The French had a group of Indians fighting for them. The Spaniards had a whole confederacy fighting for them. The British had a whole confederacy fighting for them. The Europeans in these quote unquote situations rarely went to physical war. It was the Confederates, it was the Indians that fought for them. So it's like how they have you niggas in Pop Warner, how the white man is the coach on the football team, and he has a whole group of niggas on the field going to war with another group of niggas over a ball and whatnot. Well, take that same example or that allegory and apply it to warfare, right? So the general on his horse giving out orders, he basically arms these groups of Indians, and then they go and fight another group of Indians while the general and some of his people, they're allegedly strategists and whatnot. They don't engage in warfare, right? They're They're coaching niggas on how to kill each other. So after a successful, run for about 100 to 200 years of manipulating our people into fighting each other, because when the European arrived, allegedly, they said that it was already beef. They was like, these niggas was already at each other. You know what I'm talking about? So we just helped to put gasoline on that fire. That's what they did. And that's the same thing that they're doing right now. Everywhere where they go, before they even get there, who goes before them? Like when these hoods get gentrified, who comes into the hood before the investors? The artisans, right? The Europeans come in as the artisans. It's sometimes dope fiends. They got the white boys with the tats on the elbow, the tats on their necks and whatnot. They're usually artists, either musicians or they're artists with quote unquote canvases, painters and murals and shit like that. But inside of their group is the CIA or Central Intelligence, where they'll come in and they'll basically do information gathering, and they'll figure out who's who, what gangs are active out here, who's the drug dealers, right? Because like I said, they come in with the drug users, pill poppers, coke sniffers. They come in with the people who are on drugs, right? That's why in the hood, certain hoods love the gentrification, because the coke dealer and the person who sold pills and sold coke, they blew up when the white boys and them came in and their women and whatnot. They took off. They didn't have to sell weed anymore. They start selling pills, my nigga. They start selling powder. They start selling fentanyl. These niggas is functional fentanyl users. These white boys that come into the hood. Okay? So the white boys know who the drug dealers are. The gentrifiers, they know who the drug dealers are off the rip. They know who got that work off the rip, off the Rippington. They could tell if they go back and debrief their people. They're like, yeah, this is the gang. These are the drug dealers. These are the beefs. So what happens once they get that information? Then they send their people in and they start playing off of that. They dropping off guns in the hood. They lock up, they'll go and lock the leader up. They'll lock up the quote unquote figurehead that was holding shit together and pull them off the scene, right? So now when you don't have the general on the war field and you just got a bunch of soldiers and whatnot, what do you think is going to happen when they remove the general, right? Like when they took Larry Hoover, Jeff Fort, and a few other people out of Chicago, what do you think was going to happen when they did that, right? Everybody's going to start trying to be the big chief, right? Chief Keef, right? You went from Chief Malik to Chief Keef, right? Chief Keef was like 14, 15, 16. He's a chief already? Okay. That's what's up. How much can we affect the masses? If the world has entered into an age of collapse, doesn't this play into the many spiritual prophecies? We may be only able to impact a small segment. All right. I hear you, right? That sounds like some of the shit that the occultists like to say. However, if I'm the red pill, right? My job, title, and what I'm here to do and my purpose is to deliver these red pills, right? My purpose is to wake the people up. And they say when a student is ready, the teacher shall appear. My purpose is to appear. So at the end of the day, right, what I've been doing over the past more than 10 years and what I saw Sabi do, right, and before that, what I saw Dr. Ben and them do is they focused on the people that were awake. They focused on the people that were seeking answers. And Sabi was unique. And Mama Pill and Sabi and them, they're unique because they're not necessarily waiting for a nigga to take the red pill and act like, oh, I want to learn something. No, they're saving lives. I saw people coming to my mother, right? I saw people pulling up to Mama Pill in the 80s. I saw people pulling up to Dr. Sabi because they were dying. You understand? Dying. They were in hospice. They was out of here. They were on their last leg, right? I seen daughters, right? Destroyed, crying, hands shaking, body shaking, because they wasn't ready to lose their mama, right? And they brought their mother to get healed and to get cured. I don't want to hear, I don't want to go crazy on you occult niggas and drag you, right? I don't want to go dumb in here, but we not cut from the same cloth, and we don't serve the same purpose. And we weren't, you niggas is waiting to die, right? You want to die, and we can help you with that. You feel me? We could teach you how to do it the right way. But that's not what we here to do. We here to uplift fallen humanity. So I'm never going to give up on my people, right? I don't give a fuck it's called the 85ers for a reason. It's 85% of us that are dumb, deaf, and blind. There's 85% of us that are quote unquote not even fucking, they're holograms damn near. There's 85% of us that are not going to make it. So we're not talking about the 85ers. I'm just talking about the 15%. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about the ones, who need this shit. And then I'm asking, what happened to the niggas that did wake up? What part are you playing? What role are you playing and whatnot to uplift the people that need upliftment? Or did you just take the wake up and you keeping it to yourself because you're selfish, right? Or are you here to help or to assist and to share, because they say each one teach one? Or are you niggas just trying to be deep and pompous and turn your nose up and act like you niggas is somebody because you know about Baphomet? You know what I mean? Or because Saturn is Satan, you niggas is acting like you're special or you're better than somebody. I would love to know that. What's the fucking purpose? You doing all of that for what? You doing all of that for what? You feel comfortable walking through this fucking septic tank? You feel comfortable walking through the Valley of Bones? To be honest with you, it makes me feel better as a person, as a spiritual entity, as a human being, and as a quote unquote black man or a melanated man, because that's just my ego talking. I'm none of that. But in this reality that we're in, how people identify each other, unfortunately, is by skin color, nationality, and race, and all of that stupid shit, because we're in this fucking 2D, this prison, right? And until you link up with me on Mars or on another dimension, Why don't we focus on what's going on right here, right? Because that's a level of escapism. When I hear people talk like that, it's like you don't want to put in the work, even though the best work that you could put in is on self, right? But even your self-work, if you put in the right self-work, somebody is going to appear to get the fucking lesson from you. And what are you going to tell them? Somebody's going to appear. Either your family member is going to realize that you're changing for the better, your co-worker, a nigga in the street, a motherfucking stranger will pop up. Somebody is going to appear and be like, yo, can you help me with this? Can you point me in this direction? Do you have the answer to this? So it's up on you, because you could be like, nah, nigga, I didn't sign up to help you niggas. Fuck out of here. I'm really just on me. I'm on my time. It's about me. It's me, right? Because that's what I'm about. Me. Not about nothing else. It's me and my fucking teachers and my leaders and nothing else, right? No. It's not, that don't hold. I don't think that's, that don't resonate with me too tough. Going back to what I said earlier, I enjoy being amongst my people, especially the enlightened ones. I enjoy being around the knuckle draggers. Right? I enjoy being around dead niggas. You know what I'm talking about? It don't bother me. It don't bother me. I'm really case studying. I'm doing the field work. I'm doing the research. But especially when I get amongst those that are enlightened at festivals and other places, it's invigorating. I don't hate my people that much. It's invigorating. Red, what's the enemy and how do you identify enemy? The only enemy that you have is within you. You know what I mean? If you God, how the fuck can you have an enemy? Because if you put anybody on your level, if you identify somebody as an enemy, then you're saying that that person is your equals, right? And they're on your level. So you need to be careful about who the fuck you say is your enemy, because you're giving them power. So the only enemy that I have is this nigga that's looking back at me in the mirror, because I promise you, he's more responsible for destroying shit and sabotaging shit than any motherfucker outside of me. And if somebody popped up and it wasn't me, I'm like, that's still me. That's a reflection of a part of me, right, that I haven't dealt with. And is manifested in this 2D reality, this two-dimensional holographic reality, as a Peckerwood or somebody who I'm like, that's my op and whatnot, right? But I promise you, the most challenging op that you're ever gonna come face to face with is your fucking face. You know what I'm talking about? It's gonna be you, your lower self-sabotaging you, right? Finding a way to fucking trip you up, finding a way to sink you even lower into the sunken place, finding a way to put you in certain type of situations, you know what I mean? Suggesting to you to kill yourself, suggesting to you to take yourself and do certain things with, suggesting to you to sell your fucking body, suggesting to you to take penitentiary chances, suggesting to you to throw it all away because somebody bruised your ego, suggesting to you, right, to be dishonest and disingenuous to people around you who's keeping it tall with you. That's you doing it to yourself. That's nobody outside of you doing that. And the closest, remember, the European can't get close to you like motherfuckers that look like you or family members or you. Can't nobody just pull up on you like that unless you sweet like that. You just let people pull up on you, right? But 9 times out of 10, the people that get put in a pine box and they get Peter rolled and whatnot is usually by somebody that they trusted who could be real close up on them. And then they line them up. And they line them up. I've seen it happen a lot of times. You let the person get close to you because you trust them. You have a level of trust in them because they seem familiar and they look like you. But like I said before, if you are at war with yourself, right, then God damn it, at that point, that's the closest motherfucker that look just like. It is you. It is you. So somebody pulling up on you to do you dirty that look like you, it's not a far throw. It's not a far stone's throw. That's what happens. You know what I mean? We take these stories about police brutality and certain other things with the other side and whatnot, and we pour gasoline and we blow that shit up. Like this is something that they doing to us all day when we getting slid on by niggas that look like us all day. Like I said, I just saw a 3-hour documentary about a war that was taking place in Chicago. I thought the little dirt, the GDs versus the BDs was the big story. No limit. G Herbo, Little Bibby, and all of them, the No Limit gang versus KS. What's these niggas? KS in them? That they shot this nigga 64 times outside the police precinct. They killed this nigga outside of fucking Cook County Jail, bro. And they shot him 64 times. Come on, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? They shot Laquan McDonald. The police shot him in Chicago 60-something times. And then these niggas turned around and they shot they op 60-something times. In front of the fucking jail, Cook County Jail, bro. We talking about they got the war been going on since like 2012. Before 2012, mind you, 2010. It was taking place before Little Bibby and them was even born. How about that? Yeah, KTS Dre. They did him super dirty, right? And these killings set precedents around the world. Y'all don't understand the impact of the drill egregore, right? They're feeding an entity. They're feeding an entity. This entity is a thought form. It is a living thing, and it is hovering, and it has its fucking its tentacles stuck in so many people, bro. It's a life force. It's a life force. And it's claimed millions of lives already, I would say. Millions. There's some heavy mind control, bro. Some heavy mind control, fam. Big mind control. These little niggas had, I ain't even gonna get into it. You know what I mean? I'm not even gonna get into it. War, war's war, man. War's ugly. You feel me? But war happens on many different levels. You know what I mean? And if you study a gang war, you can't be surprised at the shit that you see because of fucking gang war. You know what I'm talking about? A war is a war. A war is a war. War is real. Nothing to brag about. If you can avoid war, avoid it at all costs because it's going to change you forever. Okay? Whether it's a street war, an online war, the war to roses, or straight up physical, because wars start in a mental plane before they get physical. It's a mental thing. It's an intellectual thing. Spiritual warfare. And it's a war going on outside. However, you gotta choose your battles wisely. You can't be fighting with everybody. It's gonna wear you thin. It's gonna wear you thin. How many years do you think, right? Because to be at war for more than 10 years, right? Like these young boys in Chirac was doing. Come on, like just think about it. The war in Afghanistan allegedly is over, and these little niggas are still at war. right? How long do you think somebody could continuously go to war, right? And it doesn't affect them on a heavy, and it doesn't take a heavy toll on their mental state? How long do you think that shit lasts? Because even with the army or the armed forces, you have soldiers that deploy and they have tours of duty and whatnot, and then they have to unplug and they might even come back and whatnot. But you know, some of these, they don't have no days off in Chirac. These little niggas don't have no days off. They've been going to war every single day, right? They've been at war since they were babies and whatnot. Their rites of passage, it didn't even end yet, right? You would think that the rites of passage might be a few months. Thank you for the cash app. You would think that it's a few months. And for everybody on the channel, yes, the cash app is right there on the ticker. Phil Moreland. This is an independent platform. We don't get checks from YouTube. We're not sponsored by the government. You know what I'm talking about? And we don't have no deals with Mountain Dew, my nigga. So the people, right? This is a people-supported platform and channel and whatnot. And I appreciate the support of the people. And let's keep the support coming in and whatnot. You know, it can never be enough. You understand? It can never be enough. So this war that they have these babies fighting, right? Now, these quote unquote warriors that is like the little bibbies and the little herbs and whatnot, because they didn't get killed in the war, they're considered war veterans, right? And the war veterans are still making music and still doing what they're doing. Little Durk, Little Bibby, G Herbo, and all of them. You know, they bossed up. They in executive roles and shit like that. They're giving the hood some type of hope, because it looks like, here it is, these are war veterans, and they either have some type of spiritual protection, or they have some type of quote unquote, you know, something is cloaking, something is in their favor, right? Either God did, like God has to be in their favor, because so many of their homies got killed and they didn't, right? So many of their friends got shot the fuck up and they're still here, right? They're still here, but these young men they're not young, they're not babies anymore, right? Because like I said, you would think that the rites of passage will last 30 days, maybe 3 months. No, it's been going on past 10 years. They're still in their rites of passage, some of these young men. Still at war, still being tested, because when you talk about drill culture, there is no, everybody has to die. There is no, you know what? We're just gonna go play golf, man. You know what? We've been doing this for 30 years. And our children got beef, right? They're going to school to fight each other now. We're just gonna call this off, like with the Bloods and the Crips. No, that's not how that shit works. This is a multi-generational war. This is you talk about breaking a generational curse. Well, take that shit off the radio then. Because they've been at war in Chicago since the gang started. They've been at war in LA since the fucking 60s and 70s, bro. So if you talk about breaking a generational curse, then I don't want to hear none of these niggas on the radio cursing. And when I say cursing, I don't mean profanity. I'm talking about these niggas is casting curse. They out here casting spells, and they're sharing curses on open airwaves about smoking on their ops, who they killed the other week ago, what woman they did dirty. You know, all of this shit is a level of spell casting. And they've been allowed to do this shit, right? While more quote unquote enlightened voices, people that are not at war, or men, black men or melanated men that are at war with the European, or we at war with the system, right? Like the political prisoners, or we're at war with the rednecks, or we're at war intellectually, right, with the agenda. No, they're not playing that on the airwaves. They're not playing that on the open airwaves where the small hats are, quote unquote, in charge of those airwaves. You would, man, If you are able to make that shit happen, you a bad motherfucker. You a bad motherfucker. But these streaming platforms, these quote unquote digital streaming platforms, the DSPs and whatnot, the YouTubes of the world, the Spotify's, the Pandoras, the Rap Caviars, the playlists and everything, they are catering to auto-suggestions to continue the motherfucking curse, right? And they're helping to cast spells and cloaking it like, oh, nah, we just taking this dusty nigga out the hood and helping him out. 5 minutes later, the same dusty nigga that they took out the hood saying that they wanted to help him out, this same dusty nigga is still dusty. And he's like, yo, the record company, right, lied to me and I signed a contract where they basically, you know, took all of my fucking, my lunch money, right? Right. So if they could drop the Android AI rapper for saying nigga, right? Why the fuck do they still promote drill music on the radio? Why the record labels are not dropping any of the rappers who belong to the gangs where all of the gang members are getting killed and whatnot? I really want to know. If they could drop an AI rapper for saying an N-word, well, why they don't drop a nigga the minute he say he's smoking on an op? Or why? Because black men saying an N-word, that's not enough. We not even jocking that. We ain't even jacking that no more. Whatever. Nigga. You know what I'm talking about? Whatever. It's so many other things that go past the nigga conversation, right? Because these niggas out here, they'll call you king and still clap you. Peace, king. Beloved. You know what I'm talking about? Because people are like, if somebody says, peace, king, it'll be harder for them to do something wrong to you. Oh, that was then. This is now. They'll king you to death, nigga. They'll hotep you to death and still clap it. And still clap you up. You know what I'm talking about? To keep it 100, hip-hop had gang affiliations since I've been listening to it. And you're saying all of that to say what? What are you saying? The shit was, you know what I'm talking about? Like, what are you saying? There was gangs in New York before there was rap. There was gangs in New York. If you watch the Warriors come out to play, they had gangs in New York. There was gangs in Chicago before there was rap. So what are we talking about? I don't understand. We're talking about the fact that gangs exist, right? The same fact, but it gets put on, like, y'all understand how this works now because we have YouTube and shit like that, right? So, okay, now you understand a little easier how the broadcast systems work. There's never been a time where the average man or woman could broadcast to thousands of people in real time, right? By utilizing these platforms like YouTube and Instagram, where I could go live or I could have 1 million people look at my content and I'm not signed to any contract. Nobody's controlling my speech. Nobody's telling me what to say. I don't have an executive producer. I don't have a manager. I don't got none of that. It's just me. There's never been a time like that, right? This is a very unique time that we're living in. So imagine if I had 50,000 people watching me right now, right? So the message that I had, if I was sharing a message to 500 people, right? How bigger would that message be, right? How much of an impact would that message have if every time I went live, I was speaking to 50,000? Have you ever been inside of an arena? You ever play sports? You ever been inside of a motherfucking arena and you come out and it's 50,000 in the stands? I was just watching the thing on Netflix about Notre Dame and their capacity is 80,000, right? 80,000, right? And I'm looking at that shit I'm talking about. You ever been in the middle of that? It's a feeling that I cannot describe. The same way if you've been on stage and whatnot, like at Lollapalooza or Rolling Loud and you're in front of 30 to 40,000, right? It's different. So I say all of that to say, when we have the radio station that is quote unquote syndicated, meaning that they play in this one radio station is in 30, 40 different markets, right? And they play the same 10 songs. And each one of those songs, I could point out where the spell is being casted. Where's the suggestion, right? They're not outright telling you to do what they do, but they're suggesting it. And that's all you need. To get you started, you need some stimuli, right? There was a report that just came out in the New York Post, and I read this report. I'm going to pull it up. And it was talking about women and men and how women are more sexual, right? Women are more apt to cheat than men, right? Because they were saying that hold on, I'm pulling up the article. But I don't think I'm capping, right? See, I don't think I'm camping. What they said was they wired up some women and men, like they wired them up. They wired their brains up. They were studying them. And women are more apt, right, to suggestion. So they were like, yo, all we have to do, or when they were doing the test, they was like, we were showing women and men suggestive pictures, right? You know, when you on Instagram and the thirst trap is popping out, look, women are more likely to cheat than men. Here's why. Science is finding that women struggle more than men when it comes to staying faithful in relationships. Even when your marriage is good, you still miss that rush of feeling so excited you can't eat or sleep when you're having such an intense time emotionally and sexually with a new person. That's what I kept going after, and what I couldn't say no to. That's how Anika, 45, from Melbourne, describes her experiences with cheating, and she's far from alone. And mind you, I'm just reading the article. I didn't write it, right? I don't fully believe everything that they're saying. However, it's good to just have this conversation, okay? It's just good to have the conversation. You know, I'm just introducing a narrative, right? Remember, ideas and concepts. We just did a segment. What the hell? We just did a segment on Brother Rich, Black Magic 363 with Supernova Slum. Shout out to Supernova Slum. And we did a segment a few days ago about the Red Pill movement. Not your brother Red Pill. There's a whole movement called the Red Pill movement, men going their own way. And something that you may be unfamiliar with is called the Black Pill movement, right? It's a little more intense than the Red Pill movement. So the Red Pill niggas is going to take this article and they're going to go crazy with it, right? Because it's going to prove their point that women is trash, right? And women secretly are worse than men. And the women are the real cheaters. That's not coming from me, once again. That's coming from them. And of course, these westernized publications are putting out these stories, and it's based off of some research that they said. So let's continue reading. According to a growing body of research, many women in long-term relationships are sexually adventurous and have secret lovers. I'll sway. I never heard of that. The view that it's mostly men who cheat because their partners lose interest in sex is outdated. Science says that it's actually women who struggle with more monogamy because they get bored in the bedroom. Women crave sexual variety And while some stifle their desire, others will be unfaithful. Okay? Let me read how they took the test. This was interesting. Now, and why am I reading this article, fam? Right? Why am I reading this article? I'm simply reading the article because I'm pointing out the power of suggestion, right? I'm pointing out the power of stimuli, right? Edward Bernays, Century of Self. Go and watch the documentary. Have a better understanding on how they market and promote anything agenda-based, any type of narrative or agenda or thought form. It will be marketed and promoted to you by multi-million-dollar brands and companies and entities. So it's through the music, through the commercials, through the movies, through the articles, through the pictures, through the blogs, through every form of digestible entertainment. Okay? And this is how they sell you ideas, and this is how they sell you products, and this is how they sell you their fucking Romanistic mind state, their Roman antics. So let us continue, right? The new research is correcting false notions that women have lesser libidos, that women are more naturally monogamous, and that it's easier for women to partner for life, explains Martin. Women don't like sex less than men, but they do get bored of sexual sameness, right? The same peen, I guess. That's what they're saying. The same position forever. Spontaneous desire is when you suddenly think, right? Spontaneous, this is suggestions. Spontaneous desire. What is spontaneous desire? Nigga, thirst trap. You online, you scrolling, you see some tits or a nice ass. Spontaneous desire, right? You go on places like World Star and you get sexualized. IG, Snapchat, YouTube. Spontaneous desire is when you suddenly think it would be nice to have sex. Remember Adidas? All day I dream about sex. Adidas. It comes over you like a hunger or thirst, like a wave. It's an ocean of emotions. Responsive or triggered desire occurs when something suggests the idea of sex to you. You're watching or reading something, or a partner initiates a sexual encounter and you get turned on. For that type of desire, women's libidos are every bit as strong as men's. We've internalized this idea that men are the randier sex, and that's untrue. I wish I had my bombs. All right, this is the research that they said. The research explores several of our most dearly held notions about female infidelity, that women cheat only when they are unhappy in their marriages, that unlike men, they seek emotional connection for not sexual gratification, and that women just stumble into affairs. The women studied went onto the site, created a profile, vetted candidates, met them in person, and auditioned them. This was a very intentional process. They wanted to find partners for sex. They reported being in sexless or orgasmless marriages, and they simply wanted what they couldn't get at home. But most were otherwise happily partnered or married. But these affairs were a way for them to remain in their primary relationships. So there goes the myth that women who cheat are unhappily married. Now, sex researchers are entertaining the possibility that women simply need variety and novelty of sexual experience more than men do, right? This is also what they show. Further exploding the myth that women are made for monogamy is the work of psychologist Meredith Chivers at Queen's University, Canada. Chivers and her team invited men and women to watch porn while they had monitors on their bodies to measure their physical response in blood flow, which showed their sexual arousal. Straight men were mostly turned on by images of heterosexual sex and women having sex with women, but the heterosexual women had a more varied arousal menu. Women's bodies responded to men having sex with men, women having sex with women, men and women having sex, and images of an erection. We traditionally think men get turned on by everything, and the truth is that a woman's body responds to a more sexual stimuli. We grown, right? We grown, right? So we're gonna stay grown. We're not gonna act all childish with information like this. But goddamn it. But goddamn it. Why didn't y'all never told us that? You know what I'm talking about? Y'all been holding on to some motherfucking secrets. You know what I'm talking about? We didn't get that. We didn't get that one. Hold on. Face roller. I gotta break out the face roller. This is a face roller moment, my niggas. You know what I'm talking about? Whoo, my lymphatic system is flaring right now. God damn it. Y'all like to see niggas piping each other? How about that? How about that? That's crazy. Yeah, that part. Y'all into shit like that, huh? All right. You know, y'all into shit like that. So the suggestions, right? All of these suggestions, they suggesting you to touch yourself like Tweet said. They suggesting you to be into, you know, men on men. It's suggestion. You want to be a voyeur. You want to see that shit. You know what I mean? That it arouses you. Stuff along. You know? But I'm not here to judge. I'm definitely here to smudge, though. You know what I'm talking about? I'm definitely here to smudge. Look, we got the face rollers and we got the shit for your body, right? Fellas, you just got the research. You just got the motherfucking, I just gave you the data. Go and do what thou wilt with it. You know what I'm talking about? This shit right here will arouse them. You know what I'm talking about? Rub the right spot. You might get lucky tonight. But yeah, we got the face rollers on Red Summer merch. When you see the face rollers break out, then you know that a new album is on the way. That's all I gotta say. When the face rollers come out, then you niggas know new music is on the way. How about that? That's just a heads up. You know? Y'all niggas didn't believe in me. God did. You know what I'm talking about? God did. But yeah, man. But it's been a good conversation. I appreciate y'all. You know what I'm saying? You know, thank you for your time and shit. Good convo. You know, good conversation. We're gonna continue this conversation. We're gonna continue this conversation about some of this research, and we're gonna continue this conversation about, you know, how can we get to certain type of solutions and whatnot, because I don't want to do none of this research to clown no women. I'm not that type of weird ass nigga. I don't have those kind of bones in my body to whereas I'm trying to shame the opposite sex. I'm not a part of the gender war. You feel me? I'm not a part of the gender war. You know what I'm saying? I respectfully decline to be in that war and whatnot. But what I will say is, you know, it's a war going on outside. And, you know, when we did that show with Rich and some of the shit that we doing right now is really to just, you know, it's to alleviate some of the tension that's going on and whatnot. You know what I'm talking about? Like, none of us is perfect, bro. We all perfectly flawed and shit like that. Like, I don't spend time pointing fingers because you point one finger and three is pointing back at you. right? These three is pointing back at you. Like, it's not even time for finger pointing. We're perfectly flawed as a people, and it's okay. Forgive yourself. You know what I mean? Let's not be that hard on ourselves, and let's try our best to find a resolve to whereas we could find some type of peace. You know what I mean? And coexist peacefully and whatnot, and get to the solutions, and do something honorable so these little ones don't throw us away like they threw away their elders in places like Chirac and other places where they turned, where the children revolted, and they went against their quote unquote their OGs. They went against the old guard and whatnot because they felt that they was not even relevant like that. It's like, what the fuck did these niggas do for us? So, let's do for them. You know what I'm talking about? Let's do for them. They deserve it. You know what I mean? They deserve it. Let's believe in them and let's do something for them to where we could build something out. But it's going to take a very long time before we even get there. So these are the preliminary steps that we have to take before we even get to talking about building out a city or some crazy shit like that. There's work to do. There's levels, y'all. So like I said, with that being said, KTL University for AA Rashid, Saturday and Sunday, NYC. Then September 11th, we will be in Stone Mountain, early rising, like 5:30 before the sun come up. Early rising. You know what I mean? This is about discipline. You got to push yourself to even get to that level and whatnot, to whereas you popping up at 4:30 and you feel good about it. And I've said it before, that's the magic hour. That's the cheat code for anybody that's trying to turn a new leaf over going into the third and the fourth quarter. 4:30 a.m. wake ups. Try it. I shit you not. You'll thank me later. You know what I mean? 4:30 a.m. on the wake up. You'll have a full day ahead of you. Magic happens like that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we're gonna be on Clubhouse. I'm going there right now. You feel me? I'm going there right now to Clubhouse. So if y'all want to pull up to Clubhouse, it's called a rabbit hole. Hocus 45 is the host. The rabbit hole on Clubhouse. Y'all pull up. We're gonna have the review of the Facts Initiative in Richmond and also in Maryland. We're gonna be doing a recap. I'll have Source Guard in the building, Survey, Blue Pill, myself, and a few others. And with that being said, love and light. I appreciate y'all. I'll probably see y'all before Melanin Monday on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, hit the bell and all of that so you get your notification. Hit up the Cash App, Phil Moreland. Leave a tip, leave a donation. You know what I mean? And yeah, hit up Red Summer merch. We got the face rollers, and we also have some merch coming on deck. Kings County is going to pop back up. We got some new shit on the way. Look out for that. Love and light to y'all. Y'all stay dangerous. Peace.